Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good Tuesday or whatever day it is when you're watching this. Um, so I'm trying something a little bit different today. So obviously, normally I type all my words for you, but Substack has all these great tools. It has audio, video, lives, which is even more daunting, really. I haven't dipped my toes into that yet, but I did kind of on the spur of the moment today. I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a go at a little video for you. So hope you enjoy this. Stepping out from behind the camera, it's not really my my natural environment. I'm usually on the other side of the camera, but I thought I'd show my face, show my voice to you, and yeah, the reason that I wanted to do that was because I have just finished reading this really fantastic book, This Atom Bomb in Me, and I just thought perhaps I would do a little kind of video book report for you about this book. I am a massive reader. I read a lot on Substack these days, but I read loads and loads of books, and I continue to read lots of books about nuclear topics. In case you don't know, if we've not met before, I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I spent about 10 years alongside other things of my life making a feature documentary about the history of nuclear energy called The Atom, A Love Affair. Yeah, the topic has just kind of caught my imagination, and I remain like absolutely fascinated by atomic things of all kinds, and it's one of the things I'm excited to explore more and share more about on my Substack. So yeah, this book, This Atom Bomb in Me, is written by Lindsay Freeman. There's a great little picture of her as a child on there. And Lindsay is a writer and sociologist in the States. And she grew up, she spent a lot of her childhood in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which I'm sure many of you will know, but it's one of the key sites for the Manhattan Project, one of the kind of birthplaces of the American atomic bomb. It was where they enriched the uranium that was used in the bomb at Hiroshima. And it's still there. It's a major sort of nuclear site in the US, but both on military and energy research. So it's a major nuclear site in the world, really. And this book is Lindsay's childhood memories. So she was born, I believe, in Oak Ridge, but very soon after she was born, she moved with her family to another town further away in Tennessee. But her grandparents, her father was an atomic courier for the Atomic Energy Commission, and they lived in Oak Ridge. And so Lindsay would spend, many of her childhood holidays, weekends, visits with her grandparents in Oak Ridge. And she's actually written another book I've discovered, which, having read this one, I'm really keen to read as well. It's let me just get the title. It is called Longing for the Bomb, Oak Ridge and Atomic Nostalgia. And that, from what I can glean, is more of a standard kind of historical, sociological narrative. This one is very much a personal memoir, but it's a very kind of sensory memoir. So that it's a series of short vignettes, almost sort of prose poems sometimes, with lots of images, photographs, family photographs, sometimes kind of official memorabilia or postcards, or just other images from the city, from her life and her memories there. And her focus is very much, she talks about the atomic sensorium. I guess what she's getting at is the sort of the feelings of being in this atomic place. That's the physical sensations, the sights, sounds, smells, tastes of the atomic sensorium, but also, the kind of inner feelings, the emotions, I guess. And that's it's probably no surprise that that's particularly spoken to me, because it's something I was looking at a lot in my own film, kind of our relationship to the atom, this kind of disembodied technology that we can do many things with, both for good and for bad, and have done through since we unlocked the secrets of the atom. And so yeah, what I thought I would do is read you a few passages, but I guess some of the themes, before I do that, some of the themes that Lindsay's getting at is this kind of, I guess, an ambivalence of being in a place like that. So there's a great pride that, they're very common with many nuclear sites, of course. The people that come to work there, many of them very, very highly educated, very clever. It's very important work. I mean, it's important to say that at Oak Ridge, really people there didn't know exactly what they were working on during the war, and just like everyone else, they only discovered quite the import of what they had been doing there after the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. But you've got, great scientists, engineers, but of course, people like Lindsay's grandfather as well. He was a truck driver. You have a whole community, a whole society, all are revolving around this sort of mysterious and incredibly complex technology. So there's a great pride in that, understanding the importance of the work. But of course, also, especially, I'm sure, after it emerged what had happened, what this work had been leading towards with the atomic bomb, some ambivalence, and for Lindsay, who's of that much younger generation growing up, I mean, so she's writing, her book is set really in the 80s when she was a child. It's another thing that book does really nicely, I think, is it locates her own very personal sort of childhood memories of swimming in the lake and playing tennis and going to the Girl Scouts and just the sort of stuff of childhood. Garbage Pail Kid cards, which I remember those. I'm also a child of the 80s. But she's got these very personal memories. They're interspersed with big kind of global events. So she talks about the Chernobyl disaster, which obviously had a particular resonance for people in Oak Ridge, the city of Pripyat, which was the closest city to Chernobyl, where everyone was evacuated. You've probably seen the sort of famous Ferris wheel that was abandoned there. That was also a city built for its atomic workers, just like Oak Ridge was. So she talks about her memories of hearing about Chernobyl as a child, but also the Challenger space disaster is mentioned. So there's a kind of big global picture intermingled with the very, very intimate personal memories. She is a sociologist, so there's some theory in here. She talks a lot about Roland Barthes, Max Weber. Some of this stuff was a little bit above my pay grade, although I did an English literature degree, so it was on somewhat solid ground with some of the stuff about Barthes. But I don't think you need to have a sort of sociological background at all to enjoy the book. She's really is a beautiful writer, and like I say, it's often these pieces feel almost like prose poems. So I thought I would just share a few little short extracts with you. So she talks at the beginning about sort of what made her want to write this book. She says, "My atomic immersion began when I visited my grandparents as a child and encountered the vibrant matter of Oak Ridge. As an adult, I write about the place to try to untangle its mysteries, feeling a magnetic pull and mnemonic push to do so. For me, Oak Ridge is not just a city, but also an organising system of thought, a structure of feeling, a place full of nostalgically charged objects, and a magic geography that I can't shake." She says, "I want to understand this place that shaped my grandmother's life, my mother's and mine. I want to study how its aliveness and its history suffused my childhood. So I write carefully about atomic materiality and sensuality as it sticks in and irradiates my memory. I compose a sociology of what I came to sense and to feel about this place before I began trying to interpret it as a scholar by tracing spaces, objects, affects and memories of the ordinary, the fantastic and the atomic uncanny." Speaking of the atomic uncanny, that was also the title for one of the pieces that really caught my eye in here. I'm going to trying to show the picture. This is she calls it the Atomic Mary. This is a statue of Mary outside the church, the St Mary's Catholic Church. So I'm just going to read you this little short piece. "On cold winter mornings, delicate hues blanketed the atomic city. The placid blue of the empty swimming pool against the dusty pinks and light blues of the sky formed lines of effervescent colour. I admired these lines as I walked, traversing the city at a brisk clip. I stopped only to perform my clandestine ritual at the Oracle of the Unthinkable, the Atomic Mary statue on the grounds of St. Mary's Catholic Church. I kneeled down before her to slip off my gloves so that I could touch the rounded white marble base where she stood. I traced the atomic symbol by her feet with my index finger. I fantasized that my action might bring her to life and that she would glow. The glowing would be brilliant, radioactive, and it would touch me. I, too, would become radiant. Each time I practiced my ritual, I thought I could see Mary begin to move, her gentle marble smile widening. Each time I didn't stay to see what would happen next. I felt blood singing in my ears and adrenaline flooding my legs. My body felt buoyed, chemical, liquid, and made to run. Off I would go, on quick sneakers over frost-crunched grass, unable to stop, until I reached my grandmother's house, panting, my heart in my throat, feeling the enormous beating radiance of my life. So that's quite it's got a kind of spiritual, almost kind of ethereal kind of quality, that memory there. But then there's another one which is much more sort of earthy and tangible. If I can show the picture of this. These are some sweets, the Atomic Fireball sweets, which I think we would call them gobstoppers in the UK. And she writes about these sweets. The Atomic Fireballs were bright red, cinnamon-flavoured jawbreakers with a corpse white core. The experience of eating these candies was often one of too muchness, a tingling, burning sensation on the tongue. Those little spheres would get too hot, and I would have to take them out of my mouth for a break, holding them between my thumb and forefinger. Atomic Fireballs were never banned, never even controversial. My mum thought they were fine, but that it was tacky to take half-eaten candy out of your mouth and put it back in. The cinnamon candies, which I imagined to be radioactive, were part of my atomic socialisation, part of how I came to understand that the atomic was a wild challenge to win. Through my little candies, I learned that with practice and perseverance, the atomic could be controlled. The benefits outweighed the costs. How much hot could I handle? And then just to finish, I'm going to read something from right at the end. This is very much where she talks, she's really getting here at this sort of ambivalence of simultaneously having, feeling the positive feelings and the more difficult negative feelings all intermingling, and I guess what that feels like. She says, growing up in the atomic sensorium, I felt animated by a kind of power coming from Oak Ridge and my connection to the atomic city. I often felt like the acorn inside the twirling atom, the city's totem. I'll just show you what she's talking about. It's the symbol for Oak Ridge. It was on the high school. It's a small atom, a small acorn inside the atomic symbol. I often felt like the acorn inside the twirling atom, something ordinary made extraordinary through a field of power. Sometimes my feelings of connection with the objects and spaces of my childhood were more complicated. They interrupted this smooth spinning. And then she jumps forward and she says, today these uncomfortable feelings are only more pronounced. I've become keenly attuned to the creepy and creeping resonances of an atmosphere of danger that is sometimes merely a weak sensation and sometimes completely overwhelming in nuclear things and places. I've become hyper-aware of the atom bomb inside me. On anxious days, I feel it ticking, keeping pace with the hands on the doomsday clock, reaching for midnight. It's I would highly recommend this book if you can seek it out. I'm not actually sure if it's published in the UK, but I mean I bought it very easily online. I say it's a pretty slim volume, so it doesn't take that long to read. And actually, I noticed on the there's a blurb on the back from somebody who I actually interviewed in my film, Gabrielle Hecht, a nuclear historian, and she has a great little blurb. She says, a gorgeously crafted memoir about the atomic sensorium of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Funny, wrenching, erudite. Gulp it down in a single sitting. And I think you definitely could. I took a little bit more time over it, as hopefully I've given you a sense. It's really, really gorgeous language to savour. But it's a really great book, and if you're interested in atomic culture, Oak Ridge is such a central place. I think this is a beautiful place to start, and I'm definitely going to try and seek out Lindsay's other book. So there we go. There's my little book report, and I hope that's interesting. And yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please do the little heart or hop on and give me a comment. And yeah, if you like this kind of thing, I shall do some more of them when I've finished the next book. And if you've got any recommendations of atomic books that you've read that I should read, I'd love to hear that in the comments as well. So yeah, I hope this has been fun. It's been fun for me. And I shall sign off now and see you most likely back on the page next time. All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.